Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bridgewater Town Council meeting on September 18th. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, the adequate notice of this meeting was provided on December 10th, 2024 by sending written notice and electronic notice to the Courier News and the Breeze, posting on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building, and filing with the Township Clerk. Madam Clerk, may we have the roll call, please?
Councilman Kirsch. Councilman Cudilla.
Here.
Councilman Nogales. Councilman Pedroso.
Here.
Councilman Ring.
Here.
President Nogales.
Yes. Councilman Cardillo, would you please lead us in the pledge? Please stand if you are able. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have minutes for approval of August 7th and August 21st. If everyone has had an opportunity to look at them, could I have a motion on approving those minutes, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. A second? I'll second them. Roll call. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I believe I
Opposed?
should abstain.
Thank you. The minutes are approved. Township, the reports, I'm going to take them a little out of order. I'm going to do the mayor's report first because Mr. Pappas may have to step out in a few minutes. So, Mr. Pappas, why don't you give us the mayor's report?
Thank you. Just a couple of things. One is the Township and the Jewish Community Center had the co-sponsored Family Fun Day and Touch a Truck at the Bridgewater Commons Mall. It was a tremendous success. The weather was beautiful. The crowd was larger than the previous one, and we wanted to thank all of those organizations that participated in it, and including obviously the JCC and the Bridgewater Commons Mall for hosting it. The only other item that I have is to make a brief statement on behalf of the mayor. The mayor has issued statements under limited circumstances when there is a clear local impact or when a figure's influence touches this community. It is the mayor's hope that everyone would join him in mourning the senseless murder of Mr. Kirk and aspire to nonviolent public discourse. The reason that that statement was made on his behalf is because there have been a number of members of the public that have offered comments, and he wanted to be certain that, because he could not be here tonight, that people understood clearly what his rationale was. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Cardillo, your report, sir.
At this time, I do not have a report.
Councilman Ring, please.
Very brief report. Just want to remind the public that this Saturday is the last bulky trash day until spring. There's information on the township website to the hours and what is allowed and not allowed. And that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Pedroso, please.
Hi, good evening. First of all, good evening to everybody here. Nice to have so many faces in our room tonight. Welcome to our council meeting. It's good for me to be back. I missed the last couple of meetings. The last one I missed because while I was traveling in Rome, all our belongings were stolen, including our passports. So we were planning on being back in time for the council meeting, but yeah, we had to go to the U.S. Embassy and get new passports, reschedule our flights. But everybody's well and we're here, so I'm very happy to be back. I attended the September 11th Remembrance Ceremony. Thank you, the administration, for always running a fabulous event there. It's certainly something worthwhile doing every year. I'd just like to recognize the 6 Bridgewater residents that passed away on that day. Noel Foster, Ronald Totaro, Lance DeMulti, Thomas Bohemus, Evan Barron, and Allison Marie Wildman. It's important to remember them and pay tribute to that, so thank you for that. I had a Somerset County Regional Partnership meeting this week. A couple of things that I want to report back I thought were interesting. The NJDOT came before us And there's a whole list of projects that are going to be happening over the next year here within Bridgewater, Somerville, and Raritan. Of particular importance, I thought, of interest is, number one, the Somerville Circle is going to get some work done. They're going to try to improve that circle even more. The Route 22 corridor is finally going to get what they say are improvements. I hope they are, to alleviate traffic and make that corridor run smoother. And there's going to be a new ramp that will take traffic onto 287 South by the mall from 202 to 206 North. There'll be a ramp that will take traffic right onto 287 South. What else? I did attend the Bridgewater Family Fun Day with my family, my kids, and we had fun. A great event, Mr. Pappas, very nicely run. And a touch of truck. My kids did go in a couple trucks, and including some police vehicles. I don't see the chief here tonight, but it's a great event. I also went to the Alfala Center for their fall festival, and they had a nice event there, a lot of great food, a lot of vendors, and just a good time. And started coaching my second graders in soccer again this year, so good luck to all of the athletes in the Bridgewater Rec Department. Have a great season. And I want to conclude with this brief statement. On September 10th, 2024, Charlie Kirk was assassinated while doing something every American has the right to do, engaging in open political discourse with students. Like many of us, I knew who Charlie Kirk was. I was not a social media follower of Charlie Kirk, and I was not a devoted fan. But what always stood out to me was his passion. He spoke with conviction. He defended his beliefs strongly. And it was in the very act of speaking freely that his life was taken. That fact should shake us all, because this was not just an attack on Charlie Kirk. It was an attack on America itself. A free and democratic society only works when people can speak, organize, and participate in public life without fear of harassment, intimidation, or violence. Freedom of speech, even speech we may strongly disagree with, is the bedrock of our democracy. The goal of this assassination was clear: to silence voices through fear. But if fear dictates who can speak, then freedom itself dies. And that is something we cannot and must not allow. Political violence against anyone, regardless of party or position, is unacceptable. In America, disagreements must be settled with words and with ballots, never with bullets. Today, we remember that truth in the name of Charlie Kirk. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome back.
Thank you.
My report. Councilman Kurt sends his regards, but he is unable to attend tonight's meeting because he is handling a medical matter. The state of New Jersey has issued its quarterly report of unclaimed property for individuals and businesses in virtually every town in New Jersey. Names and addresses for hundreds of Bridgewater residents are listed in the 24-page newspaper attachment. What I'm going to do is leave, as I have done in prior years, leave the copy of all 24 pages, very, very small print, at the clerk's reception desk. There will be a magnifying glass there for anybody who wants to stop in and try to find their name. I took part in a Zoom meeting with Administrator Pappas, Engineer Burr, and Sewer Utility Engineer Jordan Volk to review the plans to renovate the town's Middlebrook Sewerage Pumping Station on Easy Street right behind United Parcel in Findern. Tonight you will hear a presentation from Engineer Vogt and Director Genova regarding the important project. This is a great example of the township being proactive in ensuring that our assets are protected and updated as necessary to continue to provide what services our residents need and expect. Bridgewater employees and residents are reminded to be very, very careful in opening emails from unknown sources. Unscrupulous individuals are being very creative in trying to trick folks into disclosing personnel information. That is my report. Okay, we're now going to move to the presentation. Mr. Pappas, would you like to say a few words before that?
Yes, thank you, sir. I know that the council has had numerous presentations about the sewer system, and this is yet another example, but a little bit of a different twist. There's a different face here tonight that hasn't made a presentation previously. I do want to introduce you to him, Jordan Volk, who is the designated sewer utility engineer that the governing body approved recently, and he's gotten to work already. You'll hear from him, Mr. Genova as well, and certainly want to recognize Bill Burr, the township engineer. And I don't know if, Bill, if you have anything you want to say before or at any point during the presentation, but if you do, just raise your hand or just jump up and jump in. So, Mr. Norgalis, that was it. I appreciate.
Yes, I think we can get right in. This, I have jokingly referred to over many meetings, is how important the sewer system is. We have two major pumping stations. The one we'll be referring to tonight is Middlebrook, and it was built in basically 1985, and it's been maintained ever since and added to. Not deleted from, but that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Our second pumping station is up in Martinsville, and that was from the era of 1965. So these stations have served us well, but it is very, very, very important to all of us that when we want to get flush something down a drain or a toilet, that it goes where it's supposed to go. So with no additional fanfare, over to you, gentlemen.
Oh, thank you, Bill. Needed an engineer to do that. The first sewer utility project for Jordan and his team was to complete a complete review of the Phase 2 project plans and specifications. So Jordan will describe some of his background before we get into that with regard to wastewater projects and get into the overview of the Phase 2 project. There you go.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Genova and Mr. Pappas and the council president. I think you kind of teed it up well for me, the need for this project. But as Tom said, I was newly appointed as the sewer utility engineer. I'm a licensed P in New Jersey. I've been doing this for about 25 years in water wastewater. I'm with Colliers Engineering and Design. I'm the New Jersey regional manager for our water wastewater group. So, we do all types of projects across wastewater systems, water utilities for private, public, so have a good understanding of technical projects. I'm going to give a little bit of just an overview of the need for the project and kind of the next steps, because as Tom said, he's presented on this before. Just talking about the sewer system in general, the council president mentioned that there are 2 large pump stations within the Bridgewater sewer system. There's 350 miles of collection system, 50 miles of trunk lines. Closer? Is that better? You got it. The collection system serves Bridgewater, Southern Warren, and Northern Branchburg. As the council president said before, things such as a pump station are important because if those components are not working, the sewage has to go somewhere, which can result in a sanitary sewer overflow, obvious concerns with the environment if sewage isn't going where it should be to the treatment plant. This pump station is located just behind some warehouses just off of 287. It's an older station that's composed of a wet well and dry well configuration with above-ground electrical equipment. It has a generator for backup power so that it can operate if power goes out, because obviously if power goes out, people don't stop flushing their toilets, unfortunately. Originally built in 1969, it was last upgraded in 1995. So you can see over those number of years, it's due for another major upgrade. Things like a sanitary sewer pump station it's a very corrosive environment. You're pumping literally everything you flush down your toilet. The equipment, the pumps, the valves, the piping deteriorate at a faster rate compared to pumping clean water. So there are components that needs to be regularly looked at so that they're in working order. This specific station processes about 40% of the township's sewer flow on average basis, which is about 1.75 million gallons per day. This next picture is showing the generator in the pump station. That's a critical component because, as I said before, if power goes out, this generator is on the older side, in need of a complete replacement. It's going to be replaced with a new generator, so that's reliable. By code, they have to be regularly exercised to make sure that they're in working order. So that'll be part of this project as well. The next shows some of the major components that are part of the pump station. The pumps and motors, that's the workhorse of the pump station that moves the fluid through the piping and pumps the sewage. The pipes, as I said, it's a very corrosive environment. They wear over time, and also the valves. Valves with sediment and things in the pipe are one of the components that tend to go. If they can't be shut off, you can't work on equipment. That's a regular maintenance aspect of a pump station, so it's important for those to be in working order. A little bit more on the Phase 2 improvements. Some of the key improvements are replacing the 3 pumps with dry pit submersible pumps, replacing all the pipe fittings in the existing dry well. New SCADA and electric for the entire station. The SCADA is basically the computer and the brains of the station that enables the station to work properly, gives any alarms of pumps not operating, levels getting too high in the station back to the operators so they can report in a timely manner. So having that type of communication and reliable controls is an important aspect of a sewer pump station. It has a commutator on the inlet, which is a grinder that grinds up anything that shouldn't be coming into the sewer so it doesn't clog up the pumps. Replacement of all the electrical equipment, the generators I mentioned before, and then miscellaneous improvements in the site just to clean up and make sure everything's in working order at the site. The timeline of the project, as Mr. Genova said, we reviewed the current design and we're at the process of being able to put the project out to bid. Looking at a time frame of putting it out to bid the end of the year, receiving bids back from contractors early next year, and awarding. This will take place throughout 2026, likely finishing towards the end of the year, or maybe just the beginning of 2027. That time frame is necessary for procurement of all the equipment, having that all on site to be ready to do this project when the contractor mobilizes. Funding for this is through the New Jersey Water Bank, or iBank. That's a method of the state revolving fund money that comes from the federal government to the state. They supply for water and drinking water projects, low interest loans. So it's a very good way, and most utilities will use that for being able to get the best interest rate you can on a loan to perform the project. And right now we have their authorization to put this project out to bid. And that's really the majority of what I wanted to say about the project, so I don't know if there's any questions at this time.
I just want to make one comment that at some point in not too distant future, Jordan will actually be providing a written report in addition to what is being presented by him and Mr. Genova tonight.
Now, this project, as it moves forward over the next couple of months, will be a little bit different, no, a lot different than most that we're associated with. Normally, when we're going to fund a particular project, we put out the specs, we get engineering details, and we get bids back from vendors. In this particular case, because of the iBank requirement that basically funding be available even before the project moves forward, over the next couple of weeks, we'll be initiating a bonding to move forward. I'm not sure exactly how much it will be, but it is required before. Going to the iBank is a good deal, let me tell you. And we want to be able to take advantage of that, but they have very, very, very specific requirements for timelines and things like that. And we will be working mightily to make sure we adhere to each one of those guidelines, so at the end of the day, now, this is a reimbursement type thing. We put the money up, and they pay it back, hopefully on a very timely basis, but there's a lot to be said to that. Mr. Pappas, if you have some additional details you'd like to provide.
Just that, for the benefit of the council, the council president and I took some time, and we actually had a virtual meeting with I think the chief of staff of the iBank and the project manager, the person that we would be dealing with, and it was very informative. Most of us here have not been involved in funding of a project such as this. With the iBank, it is very different, and so we're taking the time to make sure we understand the process. And as I said, Jordan will be providing a report, probably putting together an updated cost estimate, just so we have a sense of what funding is needed. And we've had cost estimates in the past, but just want to ensure that those numbers are still valid. Thank you.
And one of the things that Jordan is providing, and it's not just Jordan, it's Jordan and a team behind him. I will call it, and have called it, adult supervision. Because one of the things we did not want to do is simply say what was good for 1965 or 1969 is still good today. Technology has moved forward. You've seen it in your cars. The motors that pump this stuff back and forth, they're a variable speed. There are all sorts of new gizmos and gadgets that we need to take advantage of, because one of our biggest expenses is electricity. And in moving forward with new pumps and new technology, we're going to get the best bang for the bucks as we move forward. Are there any council questions at this point for, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir. We've never, during Ida and stuff, we have not experienced flooding over there, have we?
No.
Okay.
No flooding issues at this station.
All right, good, thank you. In the pictures, we saw a picture of the generator inside, but yet the proposal is to move the generator outside. And I guess along that same lines, why is natural gas available in that area? I guess I'm looking at diesel versus natural gas in an emergency situation, trying to find diesel fuel if we had a situation like Sandy.
So there is no natural gas available. That was one of the first things we did during the design process, see where it was, and it was cost prohibitive to try to bring it all the way back there.
Okay. And then what happens, so we move forward with this project, and while we're doing the upgrades, what happens to the flow? Does the pumping station remain operational, or are we looking at some other operation?
It's on bypass, but I can let Jordan also speak a little further on that, just like it was on Gilbride when we had it down.
No, that's a good question. There was actually, I didn't mention, there was a phase one to this project where we had to put in some piping and access to be able to do temporary pumping at the station, because exactly like you said, and as I mentioned in my conversation before, this can't stop pumping sewage because the sewage doesn't stop coming to it. So that's one of the major aspects in doing a wastewater pump station project, is how do you keep that sewage flowing? So that was the first phase, to make sure there is a way to, what the contractor will have to do is bring in temporary above grade pumps that are, run on a generator, and those will run to push the sewage flow through so that you can get inside the pump station, replace all the equipment, and then transfer back over after everything's tested and working order.
Okay. Is that area PSE&G or JCP&L or?
PSE&G, and another point is part of the bid. Obviously, one of the major timeframes is getting all this material. You're going to wait a long time, like a generator. You might wait up to a year to get a generator. So what we put into the bid specs was that the contractor has to do a dry run first before, just to see how it works, his bypass. And then the real bypass goes into effect when we have all the materials on site ready to go for that very concern that you raised.
Thank you.
We had a lot of bypass practice a couple of years ago when we lost our 24-inch sewer main under 22 during the flood. A section of that was picked up and thrown across the river, and for a number of weeks we were on bypass, really on an that was a real emergency basis. Here we're planning for this, so hopefully I don't want to call it a crisis. Any other questions? Mr. Pedroso, did you have any?
Yeah, I have a couple. Do we have any idea of anticipated costs?
Costs?
Yeah,
Yes.
money, money, money.
Yeah, I do. So, bear with me.
As Tom is looking for that, we have had costs in the past, and as I said a moment ago, Mr. Volk is going to review those to update them to ensure that those are accurate. So quote would be offered, but it's not brand new.
I don't want to lock anybody in. I mean, it's going to go out to bid, but I just want to have an idea of what you're thinking.
I'm sorry, the, that file isn't here, but the total is 4 million. The, you know, there are some incidental costs, like we have to, with iBank, they're even going to reimburse us for the professional engineer that's going to oversee it. And besides that, the bond counsel's in there, but again, the total bottom line is just under 4 million.
And what's the plan to pay? Is it to just use whatever money you have in surplus?
Well,
Is it
that's,
to bond? What's the?
I'm glad you asked that question, because what's unique about the water bank is they give us a short-term loan. So we do not have to put up front money. Basically, the short-term loan, I checked with bond counsel today, the percentage rate is 0.48. You cannot lose with this deal.
We will need to bond for it
Huh?
in advance. We will be bonding to cover the expense and then get reimbursed later.
Will we bond?
The
or are we
three-
taking a short-term loan? I'm hearing conflicting.
Well, you can call it what you like. If it can be a note up to a year, the likelihood that we would be able to, well, churn notes, I would call it a bond, because that's what we will be doing.
It's a short-term loan, and then what happens when the project is done and all of the water bank professionals have signed off, it transfers to permanent financing. So,
At the
yes.
same rate? At the same rate, or does the rate change?
Again, that I would leave up to bond counsel, but very competitive. What the long-term note is, you're only paying interest on half of it. 50% is at 0%, the other 50% is at market rate. And there are in cases that they won't commit up front right now, where you get some of the capital as grant. But again, bond counsel handles all that. So yes, the funding mechanism is built completely into this program.
Hey, don't forget, we are dipping our toe in the water, but this is clean water. Over the coming months, you will hear lots more information as the project is finessed to the point where the specific pumps have been identified, the timing to provide those pumps, and get all the other stuff. As Tom said, provisioning of supplies is an important consideration right now. And that's a question we can't really resolve today.
I'd like to get more information at some point on, as we get closer in this process, I'll say the financing mechanism of it overall. Thank you.
That's a whole cottage industry by itself right now. A lot of people know about it. Go ahead.
And then there are three existing sewage pumps. What's the state of the three of them? Are they operational right now?
Well, for over 50 years old, they're really showing their age. I can tell you that they're leaking, the bearings are grinding when they're on. Each pump has to be isolated in order to make repairs, so the isolation valves aren't even working. So I could tell you, when you get over 50 years, the township definitely got their money out of this piece of equipment, but it's time.
It says like there's a major upgrade in 1995.
Yes, that was the addition of one pump and a variable drive for that pump. That's it. The rest of this, and as Jordan pointed out, these pipes take abuse, and the valves too. But again, it's completely in need of a complete renovation.
Let me ask you a question. Since there were 3 pumps, I would presume, and I don't know, that one may be better than the other, and one may be worse than all of them. Is there an option of replacing them in cycles where maybe you'd replace one now and then replace the second several years down the line and the third down the line, so that the cost is spread out over time, and then with a long-term plan of how to replace them in the future, so that they're not all like one hit, So
It's not just
they're
the
not
pumps,
aging at the
it's
same
not
time.
just the pumps that need to be replaced, it's the electrical system. Jordan, why don't you elaborate on this?
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit more. That would probably, over the long term, cost you more to do it that way, just because of the complexity of bypassing it, as Mr. Pappas was saying, replacement of the electrical equipment, because you're going to put in new equipment and then try to supply that power to older pumps. Also, there's a risk, inherent risk in that of, if you're putting in the new pumps, are those older pumps going to operate properly? And the importance of all 3 pumps on a regular basis during a normal average day. And the flow of sewer can kind of go up and down during the night, obviously, not too much. Occasional person get up using the restroom in the morning, everybody's getting ready at the same time. So use kind of spikes, goes down during the day, peaks up at lunchtime, goes down in the afternoon, peaks up in the evening. So because of that, the pumps need to be able to handle all of that. So majority of time, one pump can kind of ramp up or down, handle it. You get a little bit higher flow in those times, the second pump needs to come on. You get events where there's a rain event, sewer systems aren't perfectly tight where rain can come in, you'll get even higher spikes. That's when a third pump needs to kick on. So the risk would be if they're all not replaced and you get in one of those situations and it fails. So it's definitely the more cost-effective approach to do it as one large capital project because of the complexities of replacing the equipment. And it's pretty common for a pump station to go a number of years and then undergo a major capital improvement like this to replace all the equipment for that reason.
Pump sizing is important also, depending on the size, diameter of the pumps that are ultimately chosen, if they're different in any way. We have 8-inch pumps right now, and I guess there's some discussion whether 8 inches is oversized and we go to 6. But in any case, remember back when the people from the tire center will tell you, make sure you have the same tires on all your wheels so you're under control. And to the same, that's the best analogy I can use. We want to make sure we have the same pumps so that they all work together as opposed to, opposed. Any other questions?
What % of the overall bill is associated with the pumps? Out of the $4 million, is it half, 75%? What's the number?
I don't think we're prepared to answer that. Yeah.
All right.
And again, one more point, the operating system that operates, remember, we check on, the sewer maintenance division checks on it every day, but it depends on the operating system. Well, guess what? The operating system's obsolete. We can't get parts for it. So again, I want to drive the point home if I do one thing tonight. There's nothing to be saved as far as the renovation. The building is good, the foundation, the structure, but it does need complete renovation.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and talent. We look forward to the next version in a couple of weeks to find out what's in store for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving to item 9 in the agenda, and that is meeting open to the public. Members of the public wishing to address the council on any matter will be allowed 3 minutes to speak unless there are unusual circumstances. May I have a motion, please, to open to the public?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we're open to the public. Please come up. Please put your name and full address on the piece of paper, and then share that with us verbally and tell us what's on your mind.
I'm going to bring one of my mailing labels next time and just stick it on. Jane Gandolf, 2000 Washington Valley Road, Martinsville. I'm here tonight for a couple of reasons, actually, and I'll try to talk quickly because I see you have other
Jane,
folks.
tell us your name and address.
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I can say it again.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. As long as it's
First
on
of
the-
all, I'd like to, representing the Friends of Bridgewater History, invite all of you to a couple of events that we're having. We're going to participate in the Journey Through the Past again, which is at the house owned by Bridgewater Township on Milltown Road. It's Elaine Voorhees Brokaw House. I believe Mr. Corsini came last year. I hope you come back again this year. We have some demonstrations. Actually, Stephanie Munch is giving a demonstration on dyeing materials. So that's October 11th and 12th. Then on October 22nd, we will be here at the Municipal Building next door in the conference room, giving a history of the Sunset Lake area. If you guys have any time, we'd love to have you join us to learn a little bit more about the townships, that area. And then on October 26th, we're giving a presentation called Now and Then, a walk through our past at St. Martin's Church at 12 o'clock. And that's more or less how Martinsville has changed in the last 100 years and how Camp Cromwell has evolved over that period.
Dean, I'm sorry, was that the 25th or the 26th you said?
26th, Sunday the
26th.
26th.
Thank you.
What time is the 22nd event?
22nd is at 7 p.m. I actually have an invitation. I don't-
Thank you.
The other thing I would like to talk about is, on the invitation, is an invitation for you guys to set the date to come see the Yaley House in Martinsville. The Friends of Bridgewater History has accepted that as a gift from a developer in town, and he's going to renovate, not restore, renovate the property, and I'd love you to see it before it's renovated, and then come back when we have an open house. So you can let me know when you're available, individually or as a group or whatever. As you know, I'm a member of your History Council Committee, I think it's called. I was appointed in 2024. There were 3 members, Mauricio, I can't pronounce his last name, but his term is over, and Reverend Hobbs. I believe someone from the council was supposed to be an interface to the township for that. Is that correct? When you designated the committee?
I am. Tobias on to the
Did someone, oh, because I would love to set up a meeting with whoever's in charge of that, and with Reverend Hobbs, because I have a couple of ideas now about preservation. I was very upset to see we lost another house on Washington Valley Road, 1544 Washington Valley. There was an old farmhouse that was built in 1844, and it's been torn down to put up a very large house, which is very sad. Lastly, I just want to know, well, maybe the History Committee can work on this, what the plans are for the Hancock Preserve and for the Vaucher Revolutionary Preserve. Both of those have been owned by the town for quite some time, and still we don't have access to either of those properties. I know we're working on Cromwell, we all got that message and it was in the papers and in our tax bills. And I know we're looking at the grants that we received for the Lane Voorhees Brokaw House, but I don't know what's going on with the other houses. So when I find out who the committee is, committee pro chair, I'd love to meet with them. And that was it. Can I give you gifts or no? Magnets? They're magnets from our historical society. I'll give them to you.
Give it to Grace and she'll distribute it, Jane. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Anyone else wishing to address the council, please come forward. Name and address, please.
Quickly fill this out. Good evening. My name is Kim Wortman, and I am a lifelong resident of Somerville, having lived at 289 West Summit Street in Somerville for the last 27 years. It's been a few years since I've seen many of you, so it's quite a pleasure to be here, and I thank you for your time. I'm here tonight to respectfully request that you rescind the recently adopted ordinance that spot rezoned Cornell Boulevard, specifically Block 406, Lot 2.01. For Township Code purposes, it is Section R10A, Section 126.308, and 126.321. I believe the zoning change should be reevaluated for 3 key reasons: safety, environmental impact, and appropriateness. First, on the matter of safety. The rezoned area presents several hazards. For years, I have walked twice a day past this particular location. There are no sidewalks, forcing pedestrians to jump onto lawns as cars pass by. Second, the area serves as a cut-through. We're close to 206. And what happens is folks kind of get up to a stop sign and roll on through quite quickly, not looking, no regard for those around them. That poses a risk to the pedestrians and other drivers. There's also poor visibility at dusk. There are very limited streetlights in the area, which further increases the dangers. Second, regarding the environmental impact, the trees on the parcel, if you've seen it before, and I will invite you to come join me for a little walk, provide a critical buffer against the noise and congestion of Route 202-206. They also offer protection against flooding. If these trees are removed to build housing and a parking lot, our neighborhood and future residents will face serious flooding issues. This plan will replicate the severe flooding seen on Route 22, creating similar drainage issues on the Route 202-206 during major storms. Surely, in Bridgewater's 32 square miles, there's a more suitable location that's tranquil for housing our deserving veterans than next to a busy highway. The site fails to provide a quality life that all residents deserve. And finally, the appropriateness of this spot rezoning. It's highly questionable. This change would drastically alter a single-family residential community, placing a strain on our water and sewer, quite timely having listened to the Middlebrook update. The area ties into the Raritan Valley Sewage Authority, which is taxed in very similar ways that were just discussed with regard to Middlebrook. That infrastructure and the strains will negatively impact property values and residential privacy. Let's not repeat the mistake of our neighbors in Greenbrook and Warren, who are now embroiled in a lawsuit over a similar, poorly evaluated rezoning. Additionally, Bridgewater's land area, kind of jealous, is 13 times larger than Somerville's. We are only 2.2 square miles, whereas Bridgewater has 32 square miles. So I'm hopeful that some other location could be found. I'm also aware Bridgewater has a state mandated, I'm aware of the requirement for affordable housing of approximately 400 units. The 15 units that are currently planned for this unsuitable site represent only 4% of that total. I believe the township can meet its requirement by identifying an alternative location. Relocating these 15 units would allow future residents to enjoy a better quality of life with access to tranquil, natural surroundings and freedom from flooding. I invite each of you to join me for a walk through the neighborhood to see exactly what would happen and the adverse effects that redevelopment of this area and rezoning would have. As a former Somerville councilwoman, I understand the weight of these decisions that face you. I implore you, as your neighbor, to reconsider this choice. Rescinding the rezoning of Cornell Boulevard is essential to preserving the safety and well-being of residents in both our communities. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council? Please come forward. Name and address, please.
Peter Mulligard, 452 Lenape Trail. I'm here today on behalf of the residents of Lenape Trail. If you're familiar with it, it's at the bottom of Meadow, where Meadow meets Route 28, so right on the Branchburg border. How are we doing? Anyway, so on the bottom of Meadow where it meets 28. So if you're familiar with that area, we've got the giant power line right on 28, which is a massive eyesore, which the town really didn't help us out with at the time. There was a chance to maybe move that. Now we have a new eyesore, which the town has essentially let happen and is your responsibility. We are a cul-de-sac, and at the bottom of the cul-de-sac, can I approach with the picture? Do you mind? Have you pass this down? So we typically maintain this at the bottom of the cul-de-sac. It is an area with bushes and hedges that's been there for decades. And every year you'll maintain the weeds over time with spraying and guys coming out to do it. As you can see, this is overrun with weeds. And you can't see the bushes anymore. It's a massive eyesore that we are looking at consistently every day for the last almost 6 months. I'm assuming that'll be over when the gets cold enough, and then the leaves come down, and then we get 6 months of looking at the giant tower. So now I've got 12 months, or we have 12 months of nothing but eyesores. So again, this one is on the town, please. I've been dealing with your maintenance folks in the Public Works. The gentleman has been very nice, very polite, very responsive. I give him a lot of credit, and you guys for hiring a good dude. But what he has told me is that he has put this up to his supervisor, and it is not a priority currently to get this taken care of. What they proposed, or he proposed apparently, is to just remove the hedges, because now you've got animals, bees. They tried to look at it again today. It's just overrun so badly. So we would all be fine with you simply removing the hedges, that planting grass whenever that is, and then you'd be able to maintain it very simply and easily throughout the year without any issues, and nobody would be up here complaining about it. Just as a footnote, I rented myself what they call a mini skid. It's like a little forklift thing a few weeks ago. I cleared an area on my own property about 3 times that size in an hour. You guys have a full skid, and of course a team. I would imagine they could probably dig all that out in less than an hour, throw it in a truck, dispose of it, and we would be done with this issue. It's that simple. That's my request.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who owns our property? Who owns our property, Mr. Pappas, you know?
I believe the township does. This is the first I've heard of this complaint, so thank you for coming, but feel free to contact me in the future.
Will do. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rob Lewayne. I'm a member of Somerville, New Jersey, 297 West Somerville, New Jersey, and very similar to my neighbor Kim, I wanted to discuss my opposition to the rezoning of the development of affordable housing units on Cornell Boulevard. You know, on West Summit Street, I'm only a couple hundred feet away from where this development would be on Cornell Boulevard. My wife and I are going to become first-time parents this January. And one of the reasons why we bought our house in this particular section of Somerville is because of how quiet it is, walkable, full of families, and the kind of place where I, myself, and my wife picture us pushing a stroller around, allowing our kid to walk safely to a friend's house, ride a bike, things like that. This project puts that dream really in question. We're talking about 2 apartment buildings squeezed into a narrow lot by the Time to Eat diner, and it's really directly behind a bunch of single-family homes, as Kim mentioned. And we're talking about dozens of new residents, cars, lights, noise, and really all of that access coming through the small neighborhood that she mentioned, with limited street calming, sidewalks, and other sort of things to promote safety. As a soon-to-be dad, I am worried. I'm worried about cars flying down the streets as they already do. We don't have sidewalks. I'm worried about crossing the road with a stroller, with drivers zooming by, hoping somebody doesn't blow a stop sign. I'm worried that also this zoning change might set a precedence that proceeding with more high-density development that chips away the safety and character of where I live, which is a town that, quite frankly, has had no say in this project from the start. We didn't even find out about this until our neighbors told us. There was no letter, there was no notice, and when I've talked to my own Somerville council members, they were also not aware of this project. And I understand that Bridgewater needs to meet the affordable housing mandate. And I myself, I support the mission of having more affordable housing and more housing in general. However, I just don't believe that it should come at the expense of folks who had no direct say in the process and who will be disproportionately affected by this complex. So again, my final ask is that this committee do the right thing and rescind that zoning change, or at the very least, there should be a full traffic study done, not just for Cornell Boulevard, but how it directly impacts the folks in Somerville, especially in this area. I also have concerns about stormwater mitigation for the same reasons, with obviously the drainage and sewage system already being at max capacity. The fact that Somerville's leadership and residents weren't formally involved in this process from the jump is also quite concerning. The township should look seriously at whether this could be built somewhere else, which won't have disproportionately adverse effects on families in Somerville. I'm not a developer or a lawyer. I'm just a neighbor and a father, soon-to-be father, that wants to raise his kid in a safe, single-family neighborhood as I originally intended. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Wayne, on your upcoming baby. Good luck to your family.
Hello, Council. Christopher Zingaro from the law firm Reno and Coughlin Mancello, address 555 US 1 South, Iselin, New Jersey.
Counselor, are you representing anyone who's here tonight?
I am representing the borough of Somerville, your next door neighbor. Just have some comments that I want to run through. Not used to, as an attorney, having a time limit, so I'll try to keep it swift.
Have your comments been conveyed to this township at any point before tonight?
I'm not sure, but I know that they're certainly relevant to the.
But you're representing Somerville, and you're not sure whether Somerville has presented the information to Bridgewater yet?
What I can say is that my comments today have not been communicated, so.
I'm sorry, who do you represent?
Sure. The Borough of Somerville. Okay. I believe my time would start now, Municipal Clerk. Thank you.
Have we received any communications from the Borough of Somerville, Mr. Pappas? No?
And that was my question, whether
Yeah,
it's been
okay.
conveyed, and evidently it is not. All right, sir, please proceed.
Thank you. Council, good to be here. On August 21st, 2025, ordinances 2515 and 2514 were enacted on second reading. The ordinances created 2 new zoning districts to permit the construction of affordable housing at specified densities in the township. Amendments to those 2 ordinances may appear again before this council on second reading. These ordinances were not proposed drafts endorsed by the council for submission to the Affordable Housing Dispute Resolution Program in proposed draft form. Rather, they were ordinances that enacted new zoning districts. That's very important. At yesterday's meeting of the Township Planning Board, a resident of Somerville placed comments on the record suggesting that notice might not have been sent out to property owners within 200 feet of the districts. The board appears to have suggested that such notice would not have been required because of the relationship of these ordinances to the board's adoption of a 4th-round housing element and fair share plan. Notice is certainly required in connection with the enactment of new zoning, notwithstanding whether the provisions permit the opportunity for the creation of affordable housing. No exception appears to exist in relation to the enactment of these ordinances. Moreover, we wish to emphasize that the amendments to the Fair Housing Act, enacted pursuant to PL 2024-C2, that revise the procedures for establishing compliance with the 4th-round affordable housing compliance cycle create no gap in the law that obviate the MLUL notice requirements. And finally, I'll just make this comment: to the extent these ordinances were enacted pursuant to the recommendations contained in the recently adopted Housing Element and Fair Share Plan of the Township, again, this provides no basis to ignore MLUL notice provisions. The recent adoption of the Housing Element and Fair Share Plan is not a periodic master plan reexamination and provides no exception or basis to void the notice requirements. Thank you very much on behalf of the borough. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council at this time?
Hi, my name is Jerry Edwards. I live at 310 West Summit Street. You've met a couple of my neighbors, and I live about 150 feet from Cornell Boulevard project and the traffic impacts that would come in.
Sir, are you a Somerville resident also?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Yeah. Longtime taxpayer, first-time activist, so I apologize if I'm violating any protocols.
Welcome to the fray.
Thank you. Thank you. I moved to Somerville and the greater Bridgewater area back in 2011. I went to work at Bridgewater Town Center for a company called Applegate that sells lunch meats and hot dogs. And what brought me to this area was working for a company that tried to avoid cutting corners in the food business. I worked in food for 40 years. And Applegate did great work in this community and nationwide in its impact. What strikes me about this particular activity is the suddenness with which it reached our community. I've been receiving more political or civic energy from my neighbors in the last 72 hours than I have in 40 years of living in 12 different communities around the country, which that just strikes me as something it's too expeditious. You know, one of the things that's so charming about this area is the history. I live in a home that was built in 1893. You can't replicate that overnight. And that's part of the charm of living in a town that's got such deep roots. And when something is being proposed as a development in a wedge property with no notice, suddenly alarming residents, that's just a red flag. So I know there's other hearings scheduled for this activity. There'll be me and others that are also energetic. We like being in the community with Bridgewater. We think you're good neighbors. We honor a lot of the businesses that pay taxes there. And thank you for letting me have an opportunity to speak to you tonight.
Thank you. Anyone
And I
else?
signed in somewhere else already on a...
Hello, Richard Cash, 203 Cornell Boulevard, Bridgewater. As you can see, there's very few Bridgewater people here. Myself, my neighbors Barbara and Georgia, and the reason being because there are very few houses in Bridgewater that are being impacted by this ill-conceived project. So I do want to say to all my friends in Somerville, thank you. I'm a bit overwhelmed by all the support we're getting, but everyone is like, we can't believe what's happening. We can't believe what's going to happen to your house. So I just wanted to identify, I'm the guy with the house that is surrounded by these woods. One building there, one building there. I'll be outside hanging out with my dog, and what's going to be going on? Noise, traffic, kids playing, accidents happening, who knows what else. And I'm going to have to live with all that. I wasn't really actually going to speak tonight, but I wanted you to know who I am, and it's my house, and also the fact that there are some Bridgewater people here. And I do want to follow up on something Kim said. To clarify, we already have flooding. It's across my yard and has been happening for a few years. I've put in two additional drainage systems to the one that was there because of the amount of water that comes from the swamp, which is the property that you are thinking about putting 2 buildings on. Every time we have a monsoon, the water comes. So I just had one drainage system finished up a few weeks ago to try to deal with the water coming over there. Had another one put over there 5 years ago, trying to handle the water over there. I've had breaches when the water is too much to get into the drain, and then I have a wall of water coming across my backyard, into my driveway, trying to get out to the low point, which is the corner, to get out to the drain. That's my life. So, Kim, we do have flooding already. So that's all I wanted to say. I wanted you to know that, yes, there's a Bridgewater person here, and I am the person that is in the house that is going to be seriously impacted by this. Thank you.
Anyone else come forward, please?
My name is Jennifer Fleischer. I live at 110 Prospect Street. I own multiple local businesses, and I'm an attorney in Somerville. However, most importantly, I am the mom of 2 kids. I live in the property that is going to be the 3rd most affected by this housing development. My 2 children spend every day in the streets. They ride their bikes. They know every single one of my neighbors. They sell lemonade on the street. They try to get local kids out to play every single day. We have no sidewalks in our neighborhood. They are riding their bikes in the middle of the street. We also have very poor lighting. I am here to urge Bridgewater Council and Bridgewater Township to find an alternate place for this housing project and to rescind the spot rezoning of Block 406, Lot 201. It is just not appropriate in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood does not have the infrastructure to support this type of high-density housing development. Like Kim, I urge you to come out and actually look at the site. Looking at the site, it is just very obvious how inappropriate it is. Today, I was in my backyard working, and the eagles from Duke's were soaring over our houses and landing in the trees on the property that you're proposing that this development be constructed, as well as the trees in my backyard. Our neighborhood, my house was built in 1920. We are the most beautiful neighborhood in Somerville. Obviously, I'm very biased. But it is not appropriate. This is not the right place for this housing. And I want to actually correct something that Kim said, because I believe that you fought and your affordable housing requirement was reduced from 471, or from the number she gave, to 271. Is that correct?
No.
No, okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
421.
421 is the number of units you're required to have. Okay. I want to put on the record that none of us are against affordable housing. I am a real estate attorney, and I have represented multiple clients who have bought and sold affordable housing. I've worked directly with Bridgewater Township multiple times each year to help these people get into these properties. So this is not about affordable housing. It is about the fact that this high-density development is not appropriate in our neighborhood. And there are not many neighborhoods left like ours. Please, please come and see our neighborhood. It really, truly needs to be preserved for the children that are out there riding their bikes every single day. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi everyone, my name is Tanish Desai. I'm from 427 Country Club Road. I have a quick question about the agenda, item 10C, and I'll keep it pretty quick because Thursday night football just started. But in regards to item 10C, so what effect will the ordinance have on future police promotions?
Which agenda item?
10C.
There'll be a public hearing on that.
NB?
10C.
Okay, 10C, there will be a public hearing to follow.
All right, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. By the way, just so the public is aware, that 10A and 10B in ordinances, they will be postponed until the next meeting on October 6th. So 10A and 10B will not be heard tonight. Okay. Anyone else? Well, hi, Brett.
Howard, how are you?
How are you?
Good. Let me just write my name down here. Good evening. I'm Brett Rowdy. I live at 289 West Summit Street in Somerville. I actually have a couple questions. I'm not sure if they should be directed to Council Corsini or not, but does the borough have a written or verbal agreement with the developer who's intending to conduct construction at Cornell Boulevard? What's that, Brett? Does the borough, oh, sorry, actually in this case, does the township have either a verbal or written agreement with the developer who's seeking to construct at Cornell Boulevard?
Just a point of order. I mean, typically, this is for you to address the council. It's not really a back and forth. I mean,
Okay. And then well, this is not an Oprah request. The next question. I just want to go on record as saying, I mean, does this township committee have any intention of either seizing by eminent domain or purchasing any additional property that's located on Cornell Boulevard? Because the paper street that you have delineated as the entrance point to this particular development is no longer your paper street. You vacated it back in the 1980s. So it currently is owned by the adjacent property owners. So I'm just wondering how you propose to access this particular property.
I don't believe that's a question we're prepared to address. Why don't you do this? Why don't you submit that question to Mr. Pappas so it can be reviewed by the planning organization?
Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I'll just submit my questions. But let me just make a statement. I really believe that I'm going to echo the sentiments of the rest of the audience that came before me. Look, I know we drive around New Jersey, and sometimes we probably say, you know, how did that particular property end up in this particular location? But in all honesty, there is supposed to be some rhyme or reason to how we conduct zoning in this state. And what you're doing here, or what you did as a result of adopting those ordinances back in September, was you absolutely spot zoned. You actually put something.
Language, please.
What's that?
Go ahead.
You put something that is not indicative or conducive to what's already in that particular neighborhood. So we have single-family residential homes, and you're proposing buildings that have multiple dwelling units. It's not consistent with the zoning in that particular area. So in essence, you spot zone, which if you check, is not permitted or is frowned upon by the courts. The only other thing I would suggest is I understand that you have multiple parties that have objected to your affordable housing plan. Maybe one of those other developers would be willing or could undertake these additional 15 units and possibly relocate them to one of their adjacent sites, or maybe one of the developers that you currently have in the pipeline for your other obligation numbers could actually take those 15 units. Because as was stated earlier, 15 units in the larger picture is really not a lot of units. So I would implore you to rescind the ordinance that you passed and be sensitive to the fact that this particular property was spot zoned for a use that was not intended for. Thank you.
I'd like the public to be aware that the predicament that our town and every other town in this state is was caused by the governor mandating specific numbers. We didn't ask to require 421. It was forced upon us. And if we did not take the necessary steps to fulfill that requirement, builder's remedy would have applied where builders could have been able to build wherever they want, including on Cornell Boulevard.
And this is a piece of property that also keep in mind that when the state calculated the number of units that we had to build, they looked at what they considered buildable land, and the state said, this is buildable land.
Thanks, Brett. Good seeing you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to come forward, please?
Hello, my name's Barb Cook.
Pull the mic down so we can hear you.
Okay, I'm Barbara Cook, 199 Cornell Boulevard in Bridgewater. Mr. Pappas was at the meeting, the planning board meeting, and he knows I made a long, and they were very, very patient listening to me. I think fairly reasonable, and maybe not as reasonable, I don't know. But anyway, explaining that one of the most important things you don't seem to know, because I sure as heck don't know what maps you're going for, but that one, and this is you have a concept plan now, I understand, but the one entrance to what I'm calling an inverted horseshoe is our property, it's our driveway, it was ceded to us. We couldn't have gotten a mortgage.
Ma'am, didn't you bring this up a month or so ago?
Not even a month or so ago. We just,
Well, wasn't it a case that you were going to provide the documentation which...
You'll have it tomorrow.
Okay, we don't have it today. Okay.
You should have it because it's in your book of records. And again, I wasn't expecting to speak today because poor Mr. Pappas heard all yesterday. Your planning board has the information, but I'll get it to you. I'll give you each a copy, and it's just, I thought by talking to the planning board might have communicated something to you all, but I'll take that on myself. It's just, we're not against that what the governor has created for us, but it just, yes, you were there too, Mr. Corsini, and you heard me yesterday. I'm sorry, what? No, but I mean, you were at the planning board meeting two nights ago. You were not there. Okay, I apologize for that too. So you want immediate information that our driveway is our property. We could have never gotten a mortgage without it. So
Okay.
if it sounds familiar, that's why I wasn't prepared to talk today, because it should be familiar. And I'll leave it at that. And thank you again for your patience. And I don't know who I'm going to, do I take it to your office? It'll be there. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Wait, I better sign this.
Last call. Anyone else?
Thanks again.
For the sake of time, I'll sign afterwards as well. My name's Brian Riley. I live at 100 Prospect Street in Somerville, New Jersey. I too object to the plans. You've heard every single argument that I would have made here, so I'm not going to be redundant, but I would like to make a request. I don't envy the position that you're in. I'm sure you don't envy the position that we're in. I also don't envy those who you would plan to live in that building. Low-income housing should not equate to low-respect housing, and you're putting them right on a highway. So, along with all of my neighbors, I hope that you can find another location. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Anyone else? Motion to close public input? Well, okay. John?
John Arcolio, 1110 Washington Valley Road, and I'd also like to talk about affordable housing, and then just one quick question about the pilot that was granted. Affordable housing, I was here before last meeting, I think, and I threw a lollipop pitch at you guys, just giving you a simple request about what's going on with Eden Woods. Right at the day after, I noticed that Mike Deek from My Central Jersey had published an article the day before the council meeting saying he's informing the public that the township's involved with 3 suits. And I've lived in Bridgewater long enough to know when the council takes hasty, unprepared actions, it does cost the town in litigation. It's very obvious if you look at every council meeting at the bottom, it says closed session, litigation, affordable housing. Can you document that it's only 3 affordable housing suits as Mike Deek has reported? And 2 of them are by developers and 1 is by?
No. Not prepared to respond to that question.
But there are 3.
They're challenges to our plan.
Okay. And the other one was from a fair housing organization. And the third one is a fair housing organization. I held my tongue because I really want to be nice to you guys. I didn't want to basically give you issues, but you forced my hand. I have to comment on the fugazi nature of the Eden Woods project and this, building going in on Cornell Boulevard. It's not well thought out. Our mayor told us in June that since they had done such great planning work, that no one residents in this town would ever notice the difficulties. I don't know. I'm just going over AI and saying. He commented that there would be no issues that the residents would notice about adopting this affordable housing plan. And you can see now, we have probably one or two more suits pending based upon what I infer from their request. If you don't change this affordable housing situation on Cornell Boulevard, they're going to sue. I mean, do you guys really want to go down that road? I mean, having a mayor that's just on the record professionally and in his State of the Township address in January, just being against affordable housing, is the fact that it's a governor's mandate, court's mandate. You're fighting them tooth and nail. Why do you think people are suing you? All right, that covers it. I don't think I'll get a response from you because you're getting sued. I'd like to go back to the pilot issue.
So, Mr. Arcoli, would you propose that the township cooperate with every developer that wants to build high-density housing?
Well, I mean, at least try to meet the quotas in a reasonable fashion. You're going to go through arbitration and expedited.
You believe that the plan is not reasonable, and that's your opinion.
I'm not involved with it, so I can't comment on it. Let's leave it at that.
You just did comment.
You're not supposed to comment, but you're commenting. That's the best
It's not my.
I've heard tonight.
Basically, you guys are the ones going to go through
Right.
it, not me.
Mr. Arcolia, do you have another issue that you want to
Yes,
talk
the last issue was about the pilot. You had stopped hazardous busing several years ago and put that burden on the township, on the school district. I was wondering when these pilot fees start coming in, would you now go back to paying for hazardous busing for the school system? or you've
Sure, Crowley,
abrogated that?
the issue of hazardous busing is a much greater issue than this township council. The fact that Bridgewater historically has been burdened in paying for hazardous busing because of county and state roads in Bridgewater is not solely a Bridgewater issue.
I mean, are you planning to do something to aid the hazardous busing funding? Okay.
I'll speak for
We
myself.
are not prepared to address that issue.
Okay,
How's that?
thank you. All right.
Okay.
And I hope you can, respond to these citizens' requests, that you look at your affordable housing plan carefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess Mr. President, I just want to make clarification for Mr. Arcolio that when he just made a comment as he's walking away from the podium, that urging us to be careful about preparing a affordable housing plan. This township started planning this latest plan that was ultimately approved by the planning board and governing body the end of 2023. A great deal of care, effort, and professional expertise was put forth. It was not done haphazardly.
Ms. Franco, come up, please.
Hi, excuse me, Kathy Franco. I live on block 816, lot 10.02. And I am introducing my address as such because when the ordinance was made public for the Cornell Road, it had a lot and block number. It did not have a street address. It did not notify the residents who were adjacent or nearby. It was difficult for them to know. I challenge each and every one of the council members to identify what their lot and block number is, as well as most of the members of the public here tonight, much less the adjacent properties to them. Because if you make public notices, which you're required to do in an ordinance when you're changing a zoning on a lot, I understand. You can do it with lot and block numbers, but that's not transparency. So again, I live at block 816, lot 10.02. Mr. Pappas, I'm going to just say to you, you talked about this housing plan starting in 2023. Was that after this block by Cornell they vacated the application to put an electronic monument there? And you thought, oh, if we can't put an electronic monument there, maybe we can put affordable housing there? Because that application was in 2023.
That particular parcel was not considered at that time.
But, okay, so it has been considered since then. So this is new to that plan that began in 2023, which you, retorted at this meeting.
At the end of 2023, the professional staff and professional consultants began looking at the requirements of the new Round 4 legislation to determine how we should proceed and waiting for guidance. And so there was no specific parcel in December of 2023 when we first had such a discussion. At some point, specific parcels were identified. We first reacted to the Department of Community Affairs issuance of a suggested list of blocks and lots of property in Bridgewater Township that they identified as developable. We engaged a consultant to review the list. That consultant presented a report that indicated there was probably at least 125 or 126 acres that the state had identified that should not have been on that list. A couple of examples. The grass median on Route 22 was listed on the DCA's list of developable land. The county reservoir was listed as developable land, as were numerous parks. And so that was, I think...
So this property was not on the list at that time?
It wasn't. It was not. So
Okay.
I'm not sure what you're inferring.
Well, you brought it up as it was part of the plan, or this plan began in 2023. So let me start by saying, initially I thought...
Planning began in 2023.
Initially I thought I would use my 2 minutes to reflect and ask for silence, not only for Charlie Kirk, but for the police in Pennsylvania, for recent school shootings, for the 9/11 9/11 victims, because so much has taken place in the past 2 weeks. And I also realize that I have come here numerous times since 2019, and I feel my questions and concerns have fallen on deaf ears. So at one point I thought today, why should I speak? Because sometimes I speak and I feel like nobody on this dais is actually listening. But then I thought of the importance of, once again, to remind everyone of their freedom of speech and the responsibility to do so. So I am still waiting for answers to the following questions, which I thought I had been promised I would see by now. One is the audit, which was due by June 30th. It is now September 18th, and we don't have an audit as a township, which is prepared for publication. I asked for the annual financial statements for 2024, for year-end 2024, which should have been published on the township website, I believe no later than sometime in February. I just checked before I came to the meeting. They are still not there. I asked for a master plan. I was promised by Mr. Pappas and by the planning board that I would see it in September. They had their last September meeting on Tuesday. They have no additional meetings scheduled for September.
September 30th is the public hearing on the master plan.
I did not recall hearing that at the planning board meeting.
Oh, it wasn't discussed, well, I don't know if it was, it was discussed.
So will there be a public notice?
Yep.
And when will that public notice be?
Tomorrow it'll be published or issued.
So it will be published tomorrow. Okay, good.
And the draft master plan will be available in the clerk's office.
And so the master plan will be available tomorrow in the planning office, or it'll be it will be published that you're having a public meeting?
It has to be available to the public for inspection 10 days before the hearing. So I think the publication is being sent tomorrow, but it'll be available pursuant to the requirements of the law, which is at least 10 days. So by September the 20th, it would be available.
So that would be Saturday, which you're not open. So by Monday. Okay, thank you. All right. I'm also a little curious. I went on the govsalaries.com website, which is the state website which publishes the salaries of every government employees. It's govsalaries.com. And I could find most of the employees of the township. I could find you, Grace. I could find people in your department. I could find the director of recreation. But what I found really interesting was I could not find Mr. Pappas. I could not find Christina Madrid. I could not find Mr. Genova. So I'm wondering why some of our employees' salaries, because I believe they're employees, are
Ms.
not
Franco,
being made
if
available.
it's a .com website, it is not a government website.
It is the one that you connect to if you go to the government website.
I'm not familiar with it. I haven't seen it, so
Okay, well,
I'll look later. But if it's
please.
We had a salary ordinance a number of weeks back that specifically spelled out the
but you know,
that's an official document.
But for ease of access for an individual, so as I said, I can find Grace's salary there. And actually, when I did an AI search, it said basically that Michael Pappas's, for some reason, his salary wasn't showing up on this website. So I'm just
Franco,
I'm just very curious as to why it's not.
First of all, as the council president said, the administrator department heads are included in the salary and wage ordinance, which is voted on by the council. Let me finish,
But even Grace is included on that.
Please let me finish. There are different categories of employees, and depending upon the pension system, that some may or may not be on that database that you're referencing.
So like a Scott Stevens, whose salary I could find.
Depends upon the
I'm sharing with you. I could find Scott Stevens' salary for the past 4 years, what it was each and every year.
Right.
I could find Wells Winiger.
Whose salary do you need?
No, I mean, I personally know how to get this information because, excuse
what's
me.
the issue?
Well, no, because I pay attention very closely, and you all know that, okay?
Of course.
Right, okay. But not everyone knows how to find all the resources, okay? and knows, oh, your salary and Tom Genova's salary and Christina Madrid's salary, I'm only going to find if I search through the ordinances or the resolutions of the town council, which many times you vote on in August, September, or sometimes December, retroactively for the entire year. So I was just curious as to why those weren't being posted.
So I just took a quick look. It is not a government website. It is a .com, and they have an entire section. What is the source of data on this website? The payroll records shown are compensation records that were released by government entities as public records under the various Freedom of Information Acts and public record laws.
So they were released by the government, so why aren't the other ones?
Without knowing what the Freedom of Information Act request was, we cannot comment on that tonight.
Okay, fine, thank you. Oh, the other thing is, I sent in an Oprah request for a number of questions regarding the pilot, and the only thing that I got back was a regurgitation of the same information that I got 2 weeks ago, which was the pilot agreement, which was done, because I asked for information as to communications that had taken place, to the application, which Advanced Realty, or whatever they want to call themselves today, had put in, and everything was, oh, this is too vague of a request. So I will be changing my request to hopefully be very specific, and maybe I'll have to put in 15 or 20 requests. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, come forward. One question. You will be the last person to approach the mic this evening. So you have to give your name and address again, please. Speak into the microphone.
I'm sorry. Barb Cook, 199 Cornell Boulevard, Bridgewater, New Jersey. The minutes from the regular and closed sessions of September 4th, when would they be available to pick up, to see?
Regular minutes are published on the website. Closed minutes are subject to disclosure based upon the topics and when they're resolved.
So closed sessions are just available until the council approves them.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't know when that would be available.
We do not.
Okay. And the other question, will the council, this is going to sound like a crazy question, but will the council come back into regular session after the closed session today?
No, we will not.
Okay,
And I will make that announcement when we go into closed session.
Just to clarify, we will come back but not take action other than adjourning.
That is what I thought I said. We will not take action after the closed session.
Okay,
We will reopen for open, and then we will adjourn.
Okay, because
Okay?
last time
I have a motion to close public input, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second? I will second it. All those in favor of closing public input signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Mr.
Mr.
Council President, just very, very briefly, it really breaks my heart to listen to all your stories, and I feel it's very unfortunate what you're going through. A lot of people came before this podium and said that they support affordable housing. I got to tell you, I don't support the affordable housing mandate, and I don't support it precisely for what I'm seeing here tonight. And it's sad, because what the affordable housing mandate is doing to you and to many, many communities throughout New Jersey is exactly that, is that they are forcing communities to change, not because they want to, but because they're being forced to. And these are policies that are, in all candor, being forced down on us by Governor Murphy, and it's supported widely by the Democrat majority legislature. These policies are not good for our state, they're not good for our communities, they're not good for you. And what the state is doing is that they're forcing communities to change. They're forcing suburbia to change. And you're victims of it, and I'm sorry. And I hear your stories, and I sincerely feel very, very, very bad for you. Now, I did not vote to support this ordinance, not for the reasons why many of you are here today in general, but it's very unfortunate. But thank you for coming and sharing your comments, and I guess we'll see what happens, but thanks for being here.
Thank you. As I stated a few minutes ago, 10A and 10B are postponed till the meeting of the 6th of October.
So Howard, it'll be in the same time, in the same place, this location, and no further notice will be given.
Thank you. Moving to 10